Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a Quiet Place fan.
Hi, I'm Senthil, and I'm a Bird Box fan.
So the two of us have decided since we disagree, we're going to start watching as many horror movies as we can and come up with a new way of rate them. Come join us. Hey, good afternoon, Cynthia.
Good afternoon, Scott.
Hey, I'm really excited. We're here to go through two movies today that are low budget films made by directors who were able to basically scrape up what they could in order to create a dream.
I looking forward to having the discussion. Looking forward to talking about what worked and what didn't, and what your reaction was to each one.
So I just want to jump right into this, right? So I'm more curious. Do you want to start off with Rubber or with Hosts?
Let's start with host. Rubber is a little bit more unique.
Okay.
Let's save it for last.
So Hosts is the basic premise behind Host for everybody here is that it's a Christmas. It's Christmas dinner. And it never goes in to say whether it's the night before, so Christmas Eve or Christmas Day. Dinner with friends. So they invite these friends that they've known for years to come over for the family dinner. This movie was actually directed by two directors, Senthil, and I'm hoping I'm going to pronounce their names correctly here. So it's Adam Leader and Richard Oakes. And they raised through YouTube. Get this, I never thought that you could do this, but they went to their YouTube subscribers and said, hey, if you'll invest in this film, we will cut you shares of this movie of any profits that come out. They were able to raise over 25,000 pounds in order to make this movie.
Wow.
So it truly is low budget. It's tough to do anything with 25,000, right? So
Yep.
kudos for raising the money, number one. Second, kudos for actually directing a film for that kind of budget. So Senthil, knowing that this was their first film, they raised this money, it was low budget. Give me a little bit of the down low of your feelings.
Uh, Limited sets. They obviously maximized the limited resource that they had. The effects were fairly limited as well. The glowing eyes didn't require a lot of special effects involved. Relatively approachable special effects. And what worked for me was initially the concept was interesting. The description of the movie, the concept was interesting. But what did not work for me ultimately was that the performances didn't seem to really sell the story. The scene around the dinner table was very unconvincing in the way it panned out.
So what was interesting to me is like you, there was a good premise there, right? So couple invited to a Christmas dinner become infected with a demon. And I'm not giving anything away. It says it right there when you read it. It's they're infected by this demon. It's these glowing lights that come out into the garden and they're infected by this. Simple, where it lost me is it was obvious that this couple were engaging. They interacted with people. He was really excited about Christmas and getting a present. So it wasn't like they were introverts, really quiet. So when they first come to the house and walk in and say nothing, they just walk in like these robots and kind of start going down the hallways. And nobody questions that. Nobody says, hey, man, what's wrong? Something seems to, that for me right there took I thought a good idea and they just didn't go with the idea. The premise of a good friend like you coming over for dinner and you're acting like Synthil, but you are possessed by a demon, that's freaky as hell because you wouldn't know because it's Synthil, man. I've known you for years. So it's like, and then suddenly if something happened, so for me, that is where the disconnect came for me, even at the dinner table scene. So I'm not going to give away what happens, but there's this dinner table scene. It's pretty it's violent, but I didn't buy off on it because nobody reacted to the absolute bizarreness of the two when they came into the house, and until they started serving, they were just not interacting. Now, if you were just being simple and then suddenly you lost your crap at the dinner table and started going after somebody, that might freeze me up. I'd be like, what's going on? It didn't work. It did. There was no payoff for me.
I kind of wonder though, if you're, think to past Thanksgiving and Christmas dinners that included large extended family members. Um, if one of your family members in the chaos of putting together that dinner party had been acting out of character, would you have noticed?
Yeah. Though this is one of those films that it takes the characters to do something unnatural in order for it to work,
Yeah.
because they actually force them to have to be unnatural. If the people had walked into the house naturally and interacted the way they normally did, and then everything started to fall apart, you've got me. And I think the audience, you would have had the audience. And I don't want to compare this to another movie, and I don't want the directors to look at this and go, oh, but I think this, if they had played it up more like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, where they were acting like themselves, but not quite like themselves, not just enough that would make me go, God, Synthel's just having a bad day, so let's just have it. But even if you were having a bad day, I'd be like, dude, are you okay? And you'd be like, yeah,
Yes.
I'm okay. It's just a bad day. Nope, nothing.
Yeah, I agree. And what's interesting about movies that we've selected to discuss today is I think production houses like Blumhouse have established that very low budget horror movies can be successful.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
granted, the movies we're watching are even considerably lower budget than what Blumhouse puts out, but the concept that you can make a psychologically or supernaturally thrilling horror movie with low budget is, we've established is possible.
Yeah. And I've seen movies that it's possible. So go ahead.
No, I was going to say, which leads us to the next movie.
Yeah. So
How
I
did
want to
you
jump
run
into this
across
next
this?
one.
How did you find it?
How I found this film? I was bored, man. And I couldn't find anything to watch. And I went, a car tire that kills people? Okay, I'm in. I'd seen recently, I had watched this movie that was about a recliner that was killing people. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was,
No.
anyway, we'll have to review it sometime. Low budget. It was weird beyond weird. Anyway, tired, the Rubber, to me, it called to me because basically the premise behind Rubber is a car tire realizes it has psychokinesis and is able to cause harm to people and becomes obsessed with a woman. And that's where it gets really, really interesting. $800,000 for this movie. So knowing that, Synthel, knowing the bizarreness of I'm going to tell you, next to the special that we did a while ago, Rubber is one of those movies that's right up there as weird as the special. What's your take?
There are so many aspects of the movie that I completely loved. The premise, which sets the stage for the entire movie, no reason. I'll just say no reason. And for a while at the beginning, I thought he was breaking the fourth wall, but he's not.
No.
And so some elements of the audience that's participating in the whole experience, some of those story elements didn't quite work for me. I didn't understand the purpose for why some of things happened, but I was really impressed with the practical effects that they used for the tire. I wasn't sure how they were going to have the tire kill people. I thought maybe, well, if it's a tractor, tire is big enough, hey, if they can roll over. But a car tire is not going to be able to kill anybody, so that was creative. They also didn't resort to traditional, this is a demon or serial killer possessed tire. It's just a tire that figures out it's sentient and runs around killing people. So I love the premise. I thought it was really interesting. It really kept my attention. There is some tongue-in-cheek humor on it. It doesn't take itself too seriously. Yeah. So I appreciated that they weren't trying to make a serious movie about a killer tire.
So your thoughts on the shower scene?
Is that the one where the tire is watching the woman shower?
Basically, it's a peeping Tom tire.
Yeah, what the thing that went through my mind is, how are they going to get the payoff for this? There's got to be some payoff. And then how in the world are all these participants, binoculars miles away, able to see her backside while she was
Right.
taking a shower. But there were the comedy in that was this: where are they going to go? How are they going to go with the tire that's attracted and is peeping in on a naked woman showering? That was a good bit of side distraction and building the tire's character.
Yeah, so Simple, I actually, so when I'm looking at this film for a low budget film, I actually enjoyed it just because it was truly bizarre. It was something I had never seen before and frankly would have never thought of doing, right? So, and like you, I love the fact that the director did not fall back on what most directors do. Oh, it's a demon possessed tire. Oh, it's a haunted tire. Oh, it ran over a serial killer and now it's got the mind and body of a serial killer. No, it's a piece of rubber that was manufactured by Goodyear that realizes it's sentient and it has powers. And that is what caught me through that entire film, right? It was watching and going, where the hell is this going? And like you, I love the fact that the director didn't take it seriously. It was totally tongue in cheek. I would say that most of the film realized it was tongue in cheek and they played on it so well.
Yeah, why does a tire kill people? No reason. I
Yeah,
it's just the way it is. There doesn't need
yeah.
to be a reason, and it worked really well. I thought I really liked it. This is a great example to me of what you can do. Could be creatively. You know, this movie is not going to get wide theater release, but it's
Right.
great for streaming purposes, and it was entertaining enough, even if some elements of the movie didn't work. But the creativity and the attempt, I really enjoyed.
So an $800,000 budget, that's a pretty good budget for
It is.
now, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's still not a lot of money, right? But $800,000, do you think that the director used that money as wisely as he could have?
My only comparison is some of the other low budget movies we've seen where producers have managed to do quite a bit more with less money.
Yeah,
The sets are limited. There are not a lot of, you're
a
all
lot of
for the most
desert.
part out. There's a lot of desert,
Yeah,
just a couple of buildings involved. You've got this moving tire that you have to realize, and then a lot of actors you have to pay. But $800,000, I would have expected more out of the
yeah,
movie just by comparing it to other creative directors and producers we've seen recently that have
yeah.
managed to do quite a bit more impressive work. Don't get me wrong, I was impressed by the movie.
Yeah, yeah, I would agree with you, Senthil. But even that being said, I wasn't displeased. It was a movie that I enjoyed watching. As a matter of
It
fact,
is.
I actually reached out to a couple of people and said, "You have to watch this for the bizarreness of this movie." It's just that kind of weird. So, Cynthia, what I'm really excited about is that we've decided to take a shift in what we're doing. We have been reviewing more and more what I would call indie, low budget indie films, and we came to a realization that what we're going to start doing is really doing a focus on that. We believe these directors, producers, cast members deserve the same opportunity that large films get for just having an open dialogue. So over the next few weeks and months, you're going to see a shift in the way that we're doing things. We're not doing Bird Box and Quiet Place and trying to do a different way of rating. We're actually looking at how can we inform people of these movies and let them know if they're actually worth watching. Our goal is also to start talking with cast, crew, producers, directors, and getting their take on where this is going. Cynthia, I'm pretty excited by the move.
I am too, because just by pure accident, we've seen a lot of low budget horror movies,
Yeah,
and I like the concept of giving those, like the cast in those movies, a voice, and discussing what motivated them to write the story that they did. Why did they decide to make a horror movie at all? It's a big undertaking, regardless of
yes.
the size of the budget, and then finding streaming services that are willing to pick up their work. I'm really impressed by both movies that we saw today. And so I'm looking forward to having further discussions on other low budget movies we can talk about.
All right, Cynthia. So we will normally we would let you know what movies we're going to review. We're going to actually take some time to look at a few movies to see which ones we're going to review next week. So join us next Monday. You can also jump on over to Offline ofllon.org to get our blogs. Those are probably going to change out a little bit as well, Synthil, as we start moving through this and we focus on that. Also, for everybody to know, next week we're also going to try jumping onto Clubhouse. So we're going to have a Clubhouse simulcast. So we'll be doing this on YouTube, taping on YouTube, and then doing it live over Clubhouse. So expect a lot more coming from us as we move forward. We've got some exciting things to share with you.
Looking forward to it, Scott. See you next time.
All right, Synthil, take care.